In 2023, I made $655,000 with a free course, without an audience or without ads. This year in 2024, I grow my online education business and online course to over $140,000 per month. And in this video, I want to give you the 5 steps on how you can start an online course yourself and make money online with an online course without an audience. So if you want to make money online and you want to do it with an online education business or an online course, then this video is for you. If you don't want to do that, don't waste your time on this video, okay? So I'm just going to wing this video and I'm going to speak from my own experience, and I will try to give you the advice that I would try to give myself if I could go back in time. And so let's dive right into it. And really, the most important thing when you want to start an online course is to get something called a product market fit, right? You need to start selling something to a marketplace that wants what you have. The most common mistake that I see people do, not only in the online education space or online course space, but in business in general, is trying to sell something that the entrepreneur thinks that people want, right? You create something that you like, but you ignore what other people like, right? And there's this story of that brings home at this point very, very good, like perfectly. And it's called What Does Sarah Want for Lunch, right? Let's say I'm sitting in this chair, which I'm doing, and then across the street I see this girl, Sarah, who sits on a bench. And I want to figure out what Sarah wants for lunch, right? So then the question becomes, what is the easiest way to figure out what Sarah wants for lunch? Well, I could spend a bunch of time, money, energy, and resources to hire like the best team of consultants in the world, right? The best researcher. And we can like spend days and weeks and months to like observe Sarah, like her physique, like what gender is she? She's obviously a female, but how old is she? Is it fit or not? You know, what clothes does he wear? Is she like, do we think that she like Mediterranean food or like Swedish food or like meat or vegetarian? Like we could spend a bunch of time, money, and resources to try to figure that out. And we might get close, but chances are that we will not be able to figure out what Sarah wants for lunch. So what's the best way to figure it out? Well, there is a way that you can figure out what Sarah wants for lunch, and it works every time, 100% of the time. It never fails, and it gives you a 100% accurate answer. So what is that? Well, you walk over to Sarah and you ask her what she wants for lunch, right? And she will tell you. So what's the point here? What's the lesson? Well, if you want to make money online, and if you want to create a product, and in this case, you want to sell an online course, an online education business, you need to figure out what the market wants. You need to figure out what Sarah wants for lunch. And most of us try to guess, right? Or come up with it ourselves or hire people to try to figure out what the market wants. When the easiest thing to do it is just to go and talk with the people in your marketplace. So I'm sure you hear people all the time talking about you need a niche and you need to have an offer and how important that is. And most of this sounds boring. I remember how boring and how hard of a question that was, and how it was just this concept that I needed a niche and an offer, and it sounded so hard. But over time of failing doing this myself over and over and over and over again, I've come to realize that it just comes down to talking with people. And in the beginning, that might be scary as well, but it's really not, right? And the way that I recommend that people figure out what the market wants when it comes to an online course takes me to point number 2, and that is to give away your stuff initially for free, 100% for free, right? That's what I did back in 2023, right? I created a course on online marketing, basically how to create a marketing agency, because that's what I've been doing. That's how I started. And so I started that course, and I started to ask people who wanted to start an online business as well, or an online course as well. And they basically told me exactly what they wanted to learn. And then I created a course from that, right? And then I also started to implement weekly Q&A calls for the people in that free course. And then I got even more feedback what they wanted to learn, right? So by talking to the people in an industry and learning from them what they want, they will create the product for you, which is it was the biggest revelation for me, because that is what has helped me right now to grow my online education business and my online course to $140,000 per month. And it's growing every single month right now by $10,000 to $20,000 per month, which is pretty insane for me. There's people making a lot more money than me, but I have a scalable business, and that's only possible because I figured out what Sarah wants for lunch, right? And it wouldn't be possible unless I gave it all for free to figure out, to get feedback from the marketplace, give them something, and in return, they gave me feedback, right? The third thing that I highly recommend, if you want to make money online with an online course without having an audience, is to start to promote as you build your course. And this ties into everything else as well. Because the last thing you want to do is to build something to then figure out that nobody wants it, right? The last thing I want to do with Sarah is to prepare like a huge meal of Italian food that is delicious, by the way. I love it. And to have a bunch of sausage and like, pasta and like meats and like bread and all of this good stuff, and then go and present that to her and spend days and weeks and money and pay a bunch of expensive chefs to create the best Italian food ever made, and then go to Sarah to offer it, to realize that she doesn't eat Italian food. She can't stand it, right? So the last thing we want to do is to build something and then promote it. We want to promote it as we're building it. Arguably, we want to start promoting it before we build it. Why? Well, if you start with something that is free, as we just talked about, you will start to promote your course. People will find it interesting because it's going to be a free course, right? It's free. They don't have to pay a single dollar for it. So that will be like your first lead magnet, I guess you can call it, your first messaging out to the marketplace. And so when people join your free community or free online course, you can basically do calls for them. Like you can do like daily calls, which I do in my community. And then when you do the daily calls, when people join those calls, they will tell you what they want. They will tell you about their problems. They will have questions for you. And the only thing that you need to do then is just to note down everything on what problems they have. And then you ask them, well, if I created a course that solved these problems, X, Y, and Z, would you like that? And then they will tell you, yes, I like this, but I don't like that. If you made that better, or this thing, change this thing, it would be a lot better, etc., 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 right? So you get people to create it for you, right? And that's why you want to start to promote it before you build it, because you get people in, you get market feedback, and then you build it out with your first initial customers, but they're basically free users in the beginning, right? So they get free value, they get somebody builds it for them, and you're the one who basically, you get their feedback, which is gold, real feedback from the marketplace, right? So that is that. And then when it comes to like monetizing it, which brings me to point number 4, like how do you actually like monetize a free group? Well, again, in 2023, I made over $655,000 from a free course, and people are like, how can you make money from a free course if you're not selling it? Well, you can leverage different affiliate programs. That's what I did. I recommended a software in my free course, and whenever somebody signed up to my free course, I got 40%. And this software that I was recommending is called High Level, and they sell for between $100 to $500 per month. So whenever I got somebody to sign up, I made between $40 to $200 per month from that sign up. So that's how I made that money, right? And it doesn't really matter what type of online course you want to create. There's a ton of affiliate stuff or affiliate programs that you can use, a ton of products that you can promote, a ton of software that you can promote. And it's so powerful as well to promote somebody else's product, because you don't need to handle the support. You don't need to handle like product development. You don't need to handle like refunds or really do anything. You just basically pinpoint or direct people to that product. And when they sign up, you get a piece of the pie, right? And then the fifth and the final piece of advice that I would like to give you, if you want to start an online course and make money with an online course, is to follow your passion, which sounds very cliche, but I will tell you why this is arguably one of the most important points on this entire list. Because here's the thing. What normally happens when you do something that you don't enjoy? Well, you quit, right? You don't stick to it. But then you might argue that, yeah, well, but if you make money from that thing, you won't care that if it's boring. Well, I disagree, because I grew a business that made me good money, but I wasn't passionate about it at all. So eventually you start to care less about money and more about your time, right? Because as you make more money, in the beginning it's great because you're making money and you can escape that job and you can start to buy your own place to live. You can make some investments and you can treat yourself and you can start to help your family and friends. But eventually money just becomes a number in a bank account that you kind of stack. And like if you're not really that into buying a bunch of expensive stuff, like material stuff, money doesn't really serve you that much, right? So then time starts to become more important to you. And then if you're spending time doing this thing that you don't enjoy, that generates money that you don't really need, well, then what are you doing, right? And so a piece of advice that I actually got from Sam Ovens when I did an interview with him, which is a founder of the school, which is this platform where you can build online courses. I asked him, like, what do you recommend to people that are just starting out to want to make money online with an online course? And he said that you should get a job, which is a funny answer. But what he said is that instead of you going into something, spending your time on something that you don't enjoy, simply because it will make you money faster, which is not a good idea, simply just because of what we just discussed, right? Because eventually you will make more and more money with it, potentially, and then you will stop it because you don't enjoy it. So what he suggested is that you start by doing something that you enjoy, and maybe you will not make money with that idea or that passion as quickly. But hopefully, if you do the work, eventually you will. But during that time, when you're not making money, well, you need to get money from somewhere, right? So what he recommended is that you get a job. So you get a job that pays you, and you can get a job getting paid from somebody else. That is a job that you actually kind of enjoy, right? You can work for somebody else's course online or theirs community, and you can learn from them. So you work on their business for a couple of hours every single day, and you get paid. And then for the rest of the hours every single day, use that to build on your own passion project. Because if you're passionate about something, you will stick to it, right? And you will stick to it for the long term, and you will do it even when you don't need the money. And even better, you will use the money that you make to make your passion project even bigger and even better, right? And this is how you dive into a business model that you will stick to for the long term, which is crucial. Like waking up every single day, working on something that you enjoy, that makes a lot of money as well, is the dream. It's so much fun. And it took me like 7 years to find it, but now I finally found it, which feels amazing. And I can now think a lot more long term about things. And so that is something that I would highly recommend that you do, that you go for something that you're passionate about and try to make money with that. And if that's going to be a slow process, well, then get a job in the meantime so that that can basically fund your passion project that can turn into a business, right? And on that note as well, something that is very important to remember is that things take time, right? And internet gives a very weird look on this, a fake reality of this, a fake perception of how it is to make money with a business. Because you see all of the people flashing their lifestyles. They have fancy cars, fancy penthouses, expensive clothes, expensive watches, and they tell you that they made this money super quickly, right? That it just happened, and now they can teach you how to do it as well. And I'm not judging anyone. Like, you can argue that I am doing that myself, right? I am making money online with the business model, and I teach others how to do it. But I think that it's very, very important to be transparent with time. It takes a lot of time. Like Sam Ovens, for example, who built school right now. He was already a successful entrepreneur, a very successful entrepreneur. He made over $30 million per year. But school is really blowing up right now. And he started it 5 years ago. He's been working on school for 5 years. And there were times when he was building school when it was super tough, when he had to spend his own personal money to continue this project. But he wanted to do it because he was passionate about it and he stuck to it. So it took him 5 years to make this thing really blow up on the internet. It's a long time. And I listened to an interview with Alex Mosi quite recently as well. And he said that it was like, was it his first 9 businesses or something like that, like failed miserably? Like that is starting a business, failing, starting another one thinking that this is going to be the one, then it fails. Then you start the third one, third time's the charm, fails again. Fourth time, this got to be it, fails. Fifth time, fails. Sixth time, this now it's really going to work, fails. 7, failed. 8, this is going to be the one, fails. I think it was 9 times before he made his first business that actually made money. That's a lot, right? So things do take time, especially business. And it has always been like that, and it will always be like that. I'm not saying that you can make money fast, but most of the time, for most people, it takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of practice, and it takes a lot of skills that you need to learn. And I feel like that is important to discuss because we don't discuss that enough. Most people just want to make money so fast, and we get that perception from people online that it's just easy to make money online and it's just blowing up. Well, it takes work and it takes time, right? So yeah, like, I guess that is like my advice for make money online and create like an online course and monetize it. If you enjoyed it, let me know what you want to know next, and I'll see you in the next video.